Well, hello again, everyone. This is Bob Mannery, and you're listening to Tom and Mike. AM in the PM, only on A2D Radio. Tom and Mike, these guys are fucking awesome. But their side piece, Greg, that guy is a goddamn problem.
Let's go. This is Tom, no Mike, AM in the PM, right here at A2D Radio. We are live from the Real Talk Studios like we are every night here. But on Wednesday nights, we are brought to you by our certified public accountant. Make him yours, Gibson Mayer, LLC. Find him on the web, gibsonmayer.com. A little curveball tonight. Tom Arnone, Charles Moranin, a.k.a. Chucks. Ryan Brodo on the ones and twos. No Mr. Mataraki, like mentioned. No Mr. Milwakovic. No Dan McGuckin. But listen, the show must go on, and there's family part A2D that needs to talk birds. Hasn't been on in a while.
I
Mr.
know.
Moranin, you weren't able to make the round table because of his sickness that I absolutely made sure that I was locking in all windows and doors, as Mark Zumoff likes to say. All right, and then obviously the two shows because of Christmas. Pretty important.
The holidays.
Pretty important.
Kind of important.
And we know how New Year's Day is. So, big show tonight, fam. Heavy Eagles. Heavy. It's pretty much all Eagles unless you got something else, okay? You got something else, that's always welcome. You want to talk about fake news of Machado? You want to talk? Get a little baby jab. You want to talk fake news about Machado? You want to talk Sixers? Whatever. Everything's on the table, obviously. But we're going to go throughout Eagles regular season MVP later on in the show. And we'll go offense and defensive players as well to tie into that. Wild card weekend. And listen, I'm sitting here, and we started before we came on Facebook and YouTube, and I continue to I don't know how to word it, but I can't believe this team's in the dance right now. Through everything they've been through about 4 or 5 different times that you could point to throughout the season, said, yeah, they're done. They're done. You know, and listen, I'm guilty. I didn't make that mistake till after that last Cowboys loss. That last Cowboys loss was like a nail in the coffin. How do you rebound from that? Now you got to travel out to L.A., and they're not playing good football, and you think you're going to get something good out of them.
Without Wentz, too?
Yeah, without Wentz, and then you win that football game. It's a resilient group of men, so we'll talk about that as well. But Eagles-Bears preview, that's the big one, baby. That's the big one, because I don't believe a dude who needs to be called Mitchell and can't be called Mitch wins in the postseason. Them guys don't win in the postseason, or I don't know nothing. Eagles, Redskins reaction and a little look back, which was a dominating performance on both sides of the football, essentially.
Absolutely.
And you know, I thought it was going to be a closer game than they give you a fight, but you know, Josh Johnson shouldn't be quarterback in the Canadian Football League. So you got to factor that. But our poll question ties into it all, fam. How far would the Eagles go this postseason? Only to the wild card round, and that's it? Do we get to the divisional round? Are we talking conference championships? And are we freaking talking Super Bowl again? Let us know. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. A2D Radio is where you can find us. This is a jazzed up show. There was no way that I was missing Wednesday night. All right, with all the things moving around on Wednesday, when the birds are in the dance. Because all I asked for, me and Ryan talked about this all last year, just give me another week to talk about you, baby. And I'm going to say the same thing to start this show. Give me one more week, and we'll go from there, and I'll worry about that when I get there. But this is a game that I believe we can win, but right to the poll question, brother.
What am I doing? How are we going?
How far do you think this football team can go?
All right, my answer's going to be twofold, Tommy.
Let's shoot it.
All right.
Family will answer all your questions.
My head says second round. I don't think we get past. My head is saying we don't get past New Orleans. In New Orleans, that's the big thing. Last year we were home for all those playoff games. Huge difference going on the road, especially in New Orleans to face the Saints. My head says that's where it ends. But you know my heart, Big Daddy. You know my heart is saying we can do this. We could absolutely do this. And logically, even though like the odds are stacked against us, we still have a chance against anybody, including the Saints. The way we're playing football, the way that the game plan is going, the way the coaches are coaching, and Nick Foles is efficient and running that offense very efficiently, not making too many mistakes, and all these guys on offense and defense are just making plays. You're talking about Avonte Maddox and Rasul on the defensive side. On the offensive side, you got Alshon, you got Sproles, who's offering huge as a running back, playing the best running back of anyone this whole season.
Well, we talked about the Atlanta game, how big he was on some key third down conversions, the first game of the year, and really helped this offense out. And I think it killed part of this offense not having him because obviously if you had Jay, you're like, okay, I still got one of my backs. But we talked about the resiliency. You lost two of your starting backs, and one for essentially the whole year, and the other one. It might as well have been the whole year because he only played 4 or 5 games. Mm-hmm. So you were without these backs and going with Josh Adams and Wendell Smallwood and guys just like Wendell who just ran hard and stepped up for you. Adams stepped up on a few occasions for you. And different guys, like you said, Rasul, who people said, oh, he can't play corner in this league. Okay, can he? Because it looks like a guy who can play corner in this league to me.
He's making plays.
He's long, athletic, and he can tackle.
What he does well, he's doing it very well, and that's the thing. Like, he still has his deficiencies in coverage, but by God, he will do what he does well, and that's tackle, and that is intercept the ball, pick the ball off, make plays on the ball. And that's something we always talked about, like last week we were talking about, and even earlier this year talking about Jalen Mills, his deficiencies in coverage. What are the reasons that we do, like, one of the things that set him back is the fact that his deficiencies in coverage weren't offset by any playmaking, any interceptions. He barely got any interceptions. Douglas has that where it's like, okay, he's going to give up big plays. He's going to give up yards to receivers here and there, but he'll also come back and he'll give you that interception.
Yep.
That is the big thing.
Tackle for a loss.
Big tackle for a loss. That's the thing.
Another guy, Corey Graham's another name because you haven't heard a lot about him.
Yeah,
which means he stepped in. He stepped in after that 4th and 16 in Tennessee. He's played really good football to help out for the loss of Rodney McLeod, which was so big and not talked about enough, but such a big loss back there. And he stepped in as a veteran. And I think them 2 veterans back there have really made it, especially Malcolm, have made it more comfortable for these puppies to come in and play in these spots. And the guys in the locker room talking about, like, these guys who've needed to fill in, it was rough at times, but what's happened here is they've gotten better. And it's the same thing that we talked about last year, is that the guys who needed to fill in as the season went on or the injuries happened, guys got better. Like, right, Nick got better as he continued to play at the quarterback position, right? You look about different injuries, at the middle linebacker. Whoever stepped in was good enough, right? Or Nigel played even better because of the loss.
Yes.
So you look around that roster last year, it's the same things that you're seeing this year. It's just more depleted. So, like I said before we came on, Grow, people don't like it. Grow, Schwartz, they've earned themselves another year because of this turnaround. This goes to a whole locker room, a culture, believing, toughness, especially on the mental side. And, like, I'll never count this team out anymore with this group of men when nobody believes.
Yeah.
So the second we say it's done,
they're going to come
back. They're going to let you know that they're still here.
They're going to come right back.
But the poll questions, so you're saying divisional round because that's where you're heading. I think your head's pretty smart that going to New Orleans is a tough task because you're not playing them at home, and they're one of the best home teams in all football. It's a great home field environment. The only thing I'll say to that in our hope for it is the last time Nick played in a dome, he played pretty well. So all you can hope for is that kind of environment fits him. Chicago doesn't fit him, okay? And it doesn't fit many guys, but it really doesn't fit him. When you don't got the zip on footballs, the cold and the wind kill you. So it's going to be very interesting when we talk about, previewing the Bears game. How can Nick and this offense get through that? Because, we've seen it in the Oakland game. It was a struggle last year when the conditions were like that. So that's my biggest concern of this football game.
Falcons game too.
Yeah, and that's not a shot at Nick. I know who Nick Foles is. You put him in good environments, closed environments, no wind, he'll light you up. He has no problem lighting you up. But this kind of game, and this isn't a cupcake defense either.
It was a narrative that we were talking about. We were talking about, like, okay, what's wrong with Nick? And one of the things everyone brought up last year was maybe it's the cold. Maybe in these cold weather games, he's not performing well. It's something with the weather. What I will say is that I've heard the early forecast is that it's not supposed to be that cold in Chicago.
Good.
So that's a good sign.
Huge.
So hopefully that Foles can sling it downfield some of the because
that's what kills you. If you can't stretch the field with him, that's his biggest asset. His biggest asset is the long ball. We've known this forever.
He's got it. The thing is, he's got to the game plan that's been put in place for him the past 3 weeks, where he started and done so well, is short passes, but then supplement that with an occasional deep shot. And the thing is, he has a deep ball that he can connect on, where he'll take advantage of those coverages. Where if he gets single coverage with Alshon on the outside, if he sees Nelson one-on-one in the slot going deep, he'll hit it. So he needs to be able to take, like, you're not going to see, it's not like with Wentz, when Wentz is consistently throwing downfield. With Foles, it's short, and then when the shot's there, boom, take it with that deep shot.
Yeah, which is what I love, and it's something I think Carson did really well last year. And I think, we can talk about this later, but I think, a lot of pressure on himself to make the big play. But there's a stat I want to read off to you in a little bit that Uncle Sweepsy sent me earlier. Talking about Carson holding on to the ball too long. For that narrative, you guys are going to love that. We're going to tease that. Dennis Holmes, what's up, my brother? He said, damn, I was trying to come down. You should have. You should have, brother. It would have been a perfect night for you. I was going to message you, too, and it was hectic. Andy Ritter, Bears don't want this work. Let's go. Can I pick on Chucks tonight? Free game, brother.
Go ahead.
Free game.
What up, Andy?
Dennis says Super Bowl champs. Let's go. Aaron Ortega, back to the bowl. All hands on deck. Everyone must give it their all. Yeah, we know it. We ain't done yet. Chris Asteroid, back to Super Bowl, peaking at the right time, period. Just have to do it on the road. And that's the uphill sledding that we're in right now. It really is. Parker, Spidey, Broad Street, let's go. Mario Cerrito, let's go, Nick. Nick leading us back. Always about Nick. Matt, I love you, Mario. You're always a one-trick pony. You know what I mean? Like, this is what's getting tiresome with the fam out there. Like, wake up, grow up, Peter Pan, okay? Because this is a team effort right now. Team effort.
Absolutely.
This is a bunch of son of a bitches that stepped up all over the place. And if you want to say that's all credit to Nick Foles, I'm not buying it. What I will buy is when their quarterback goes down,
they say, we got to do it. We got to step up.
We got to step up even more.
Yeah.
And listen, we were 11-2 last year before we got hurt. So when they were playing well, we were rocking. But listen, you need both sides of the football to win this league. The six highest paid quarterbacks in all goddamn football family, none of them are in the postseason. Not one. Because you know why? They don't draft well, and their roster is tied up into their money, and their GMs and scouts are terrible. So they put nothing around. Look at Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, I feel so sorry for him because they can't draft if you throw a 5-star at their fucking face. They're terrible at it, and he gets nothing around him ever.
Thank you.
Ever.
Thank you.
Don't tell me that Devontae Adams is it. Guess why Devontae Adams is a damn good receiver, but you know why he's this level? Is because Rodgers is a fucking pimp.
Preach, Daddy.
A pimp. So you need players around.
Exactly.
And we're not at the point where Carson's getting all that money yet, but we're going to be there. But this is a bunch of guys who said, you know what? Nobody believes anymore. We're done. Screw it. Let's go win a bunch in a row and see how it plays out. And they did. And the narrative shifts if we win that Dallas game and get that fumble recovery, because then Carson's the winner of 3 in a row. So how can people forget this. To start this off, we were winners of 2 out of 3 with Carson. I don't give a shit who we play. We played 3 division games. That's tough sledding. You went 2-3 in 3 division games, and you should have been 3-3. So, this is team. This started back then. It didn't just start when Nick came in. Yeah, you can say the offense looks better. Fine. I'm not going to disagree with what my eyes tell me. To a point, I believe it's
a different offense.
It's different.
It's a different
offense. It's a more
offense.
dink and dunk, and then we take our shots deep.
Yes.
And with Carson, it's like, you know what?
It's like, make these throws, Carson. Make this throw, make that throw, make that, because you can.
Yeah.
That's exactly, you asked.
I
think when I was listening to in the fix, like, Bruno brought this up, that Ray Didinger was saying, this is exactly like it's a totally different offense because Carson Wentz they ask so much of him. And it's exactly what I've been saying for weeks is if you don't know the game of football, you got to get a lesson, man. Take lessons, study, because you got to see the difference in the offense. The offense is totally different when Foles is in there than when Wentz is doing. And again, it's not a shot at Foles because whatever offensive game plan they put in front of him,
it works.
He's doing it so well. He's running it, whatever that offense is, very, very well. But don't come and tell me, oh, he runs the system better. It's a different system. If you have Wentz throwing all these passes that Foles is passing, or Foles is doing, he would put up similar numbers. Because all of it is short passes with the occasional deep shots, because that's what Foles does.
Yeah, and with Carson, you have the arm strength to make every throw.
Every single throw.
Well, guess what? The whole offense is open to make every throw.
Exactly.
Exactly. And that's part of it. Kyle says, we're going to be on Broad Street in February. We are NFL's hottest team, and this defense is legit now with Maddox stepping up and looking like an absolute monster. This team will do it. Trust me. Hope you're right, brother. Yo, fam, Zeke says, I think we can beat anybody right now, and I'm not dreaming. One game at a time. Keep doing what we're doing. See you in Atlanta. Let's go. Listen, I have no issue with it. I did a video from Georgia, and the Mercedes-Benz right in front of the stadium said, hey, I'll see you here in February. So, I want to believe it can happen again. I think the Chicago game's a winnable game. Let me get to a couple more, and then I want to get back to, obviously, the poll question at hand. Chris Coleman said we only scored 30 points once under Carson Wentz this season. Yeah, listen, I get it, man. I get it. I'm not going to do the Carson Nick who's better. We're playing good football right now. We're in the dance. That's all that matters.
It's a tired thing.
Yeah, that's all that matters. I care about the Eagles and wins and losses, and I'm not going to let anything change that. I'm a big lover of Nick Foles. He's been in Philly for a long time and left. Came back, and he's been here for a while again, and I love the dude.
How can you not cheer for Nick Foles?
Yeah, like you'd be
How can you not cheer for either of these guys? We have a great duo of quarterbacks. Why is it so bad to love both of them?
Lovable, right? They're both lovable. God. They both work their ass off. I mean, that shit matters. Kyle says they ask so much of Carson that he can't ever complete a check down. Something is not right there. He can complete a check down. Let's slow the fuck down. Michael DeAndrew said, Jesus, God. Eagles hot at the right time, and that makes them a dangerous team. Listen, you always talk about, the teams you don't want to see are the ones that get hot at the right time. Well, this is the makings of hot at the right time. It's just tough having to go on the road and win 3 in a row. Is it possible? Absolutely, because to me, this team isn't lights out at home. They're not They haven't been that Mr. Lights Out at home like they were last year. Mm-hmm. So it's a different team. I think they can definitely go on the road and win because I think this team's mental makeup is that, nobody's going to give us a shot to come down and play, so we're going to be loose and just kick your ass. While other teams are as a 1 seed or Chicago in a home playoff game, you take an early lead on Chicago since we scored the fewest first quarter points in all football, okay? You go get 7-0 on Chicago, well, Mitchell's butthole's going to do this. Okay? It's going to tighten up real quick. So, one more, and then let's get back to the poll. Grasshopper says, not an occasional deep shot. Foles throws it everywhere and anywhere on the field. The kid is confident. No, nobody's saying he's not confident. He just doesn't have the arm strength as 11 has to make every single throw in the book.
Yeah.
But he can make a lot of them. There's no question about it. My YouTube thing's not coming up.
Is it not?
I said I need a new browser. So I just updated the whole computer.
Flash.
So we're back to this.
God.
I just updated the whole computer. Mama says underdogs. Well, you know it. And to the poll question, how far would the Eagles go this postseason? This is a damn good defense that you're going to face in Chicago. Now, is it the 85 Bears? No. Is it damn good and one of the top ones in football? Yeah. You know why? Because their front seven can flat out put pressure on you. They have the best end in football, pass rushing wise. Leonard Floyd's a pimp. If Eddie Jackson's playing, I don't know if he's playing because he was out last week. If Eddie's playing, that's tough.
He didn't practice today.
He didn't practice today. That's a good sign for us because you want some of these real good players in that defense out. If we get protection, can we beat them? Yeah. I mean, we rolled them here last year. It was essentially the same team, now different coach, a better coach, and a quarterback who has another year under his belt. But, I find it tough to win in the postseason period in this league. And I think doing it with a quarterback in his second year is asking a lot from your defense. Now, is that defense capable of doing it? Yeah, they are. But I'm going to say we win the wild card against the Bears. And just the way this team is, we got rolled in New Orleans. We'll probably be the first team in NFL history that's like a 2-touchdown underdog or like a 10-pointer, something ridiculous. And I think we go there and we shock them and beat them. So I think it's conference championship game, and I'm going to tell you who it's probably going to be.
Oh boy!
It's going to be America's team, because guess what they do well. When you're talking about football this time of the year, what two things can you do really well? Can you run the goddamn football, and can you play defense and get after the quarterback? Two things the Cowboys do really well. Now, they got to get past Seattle first, because I think Seattle might beat them. Okay, but if they get past them, they're beating the Rams.
Absolutely.
They're gonna go to LA. They're gonna beat the. I hate saying it, but they're gonna go to LA and beat the Rams.
I don't know. I don't disagree with that. I think I think that I put my money on the Seahawks. I really do think, because they play the same style of football. They run, they control. I don't think there's any team that runs more than 50% of the time, other than Seattle. Seattle runs more than half the time on their play calls, and then Russell Wilson takes it over from there. And you're talking about a Super Bowl champion, Russell Wilson, who's an elite quarterback in this league, who was playoff tried and true, along with that coach. They know what to do. That is the X factor in this game. I think it's going to be a slaughter fest. It's going to be like a classic type of NFL matchup, running the ball down each other's throats, defensive battle. But in the end, I think Seattle does come out with it. However, if the Cowboys do find a way to come out with a win,
that's my point.
I agree with you. I think they have a good chance against the Rams.
Well, because the fams, Chris Coleman, the fams getting on me. He said, no way, Michael D'Andrea giving me Seattle numbers, and Chris Coleman said the Seahawks are going to beat them. I just said that I think Seattle beats them. I started this whole conversation by I think Seattle beats the Cowboys. But if, this is the NFL we're talking about now, they are home. If they win a playoff game, I think they go and beat LA then. Okay? I don't think Seattle goes and beats LA in LA. But I think Dallas, I think they can, because anybody can. But I think Dallas, the way they match up with them, I think they give them problems defensively. More so than what Seattle brings to the table. Because Seattle's not a great road team anyway. Okay, they're not. They're not nearly as good as they are at home. But I think playing in Dallas isn't as tough. LA's an easy game for them too, because there's no home field. Yeah. But they don't play that well in LA.
Well, the biggest reason as well is that this Seattle team is going to be different than past years, and the reason why I do honestly believe, and the fam can hate it all they want, I do believe Dallas wins this weekend. It's because the main thing that the Seattle Seahawks struggle with is defending the run. So what's the Cowboys going to do? They're going to get Zeke running early, and if they can do that, you really can't stop them, or it's hard to do. So
yeah, if they get leads, they're tough to beat
because of their defense. Exactly. So say for example they somehow do beat the Cowboys, or not somehow, because it's an even playing field. But if they do beat the Cowboys, they're going to struggle against the Rams because Todd Gurley at that point wouldn't have played for a month, so he's very well rested, and the entire offense runs through him.
Oh, yeah. They're not the same team if he's not healthy. Want to get into the Eagles-Redskins with you for a minute.
Yeah.
And we don't even got to go with it long because it's actually funny the way it worked for me. But, I thought I wasn't sure what team we were going to get. I was concerned about a little scoreboard watching that can happen and some things that factor in. And I thought Washington would play their ass off to try to knock us out. Obviously, they had no quarterback to be able to do it.
Yeah.
He's not good enough. You still got to shut a team down, and we did defensively. So a ton of credit to our front four again. And like I said, I thought Nick was efficient, made the right reads. We ran the ball well, and we made a couple big plays. I thought the first interception was a terrible ball. That happens, but it's all about your response and stuff. I thought he responded well. But I want to know from people sitting at home, how hard was it for you to focus on the Eagles game, knowing that you were really scoreboard watching Bears, and you had a little bit of an eye over on what was happening with the Rams out there.
Yeah.
You know, and the Niners. So you had an eye on all three. Was it hard to watch the Eagles like you usually do when it's just at week 14? I don't got to worry about nobody else type deal, like that deep. You know, week 14, you're always worrying about somebody. But
it was more difficult because you're tuned into 3 different games, like at different levels. And in the back of my mind, as I watched the game unfold by halftime, I really felt like the Eagles had the game. Like in the back of that, the division rival, Redskins can always come back, blah, blah, blah. If we make one mistake, it's all it takes. Yeah, obviously. But like you felt like the whole time the Eagles had control of the game. Like, in terms of the game plan, you could tell, like, I was getting on Nick Foles because he wasn't throwing it past the sticks on 3rd down. And I was like, why aren't you throwing it past the sticks? But other than that, like, you could tell the game plan was, you know what? Like, it felt like it was a preseason game. You know, in preseason games, the game plan is very dry. They're like, oh, just basic, just throw it here, throw it here. That's what it felt like. I felt like they were like, you know what? We can beat the Redskins with a basic game plan, so let's milk the clock, throw all short passes, run the ball, and then we will control everything. And that's what it felt like. The defense never really let up. There was never really a threat from the Redskins offense. So it felt like, as a viewer, you were watching something where the Eagles just had it in the bag. So the whole time you're paying attention to the other 2 games. And especially with the Rams going up, like, we were all just saying, they just got to keep it close. Niners just got to keep it close. And the Niners defense had been playing so well, like, the past few weeks, but then Nick Mullins just laid an egg early, and the Rams got up early, big, and that's what we didn't need. So that's the whole time you're like, are the Bears going to pull their starters? So, and they got up early, but it was only like a 13-point lead. So it was very difficult to kind of sit there because the whole time you are anxious. I found myself, I was still pretty sick, but the whole time I'm like, shit, like, what's going on? What's going to happen? Because I'm watching Red Zone to try to figure out what's going on with those 2 games. And, like, my main attention is on that Bears-Rams game. And it was tough to really just key in on the Eagles because they're more of, like, a quote-unquote, like, afterthought, but not an afterthought.
Yeah, because they're an afterthought because they got up early, and it was like, okay.
It's like, they have this.
Josh Johnson's not coming back and beating us. He's fucking terrible. So, I think all that factored in. Deion Brown says, no, it wasn't. What's up, brother? He says, no, it wasn't hard for me, but I relaxed a bit, keeping a close eye on that Bears-Vikings score. Yeah, and I didn't believe they were going to pull their starters at all because, like, Nagy sort of talked about that throughout the week, how he wants to play to win. Especially with a young team and not, like, just go through the motions type deal. So, I sort of believed when I was arguing with some people, like, dude, they're not pulling their starters. Like, I don't care what they're up in that game. It's not happening. They're gonna beat Minnesota. They're not going to allow Minnesota to go play them twice and 3 times in a year. They're not. If they lose that game to Minnesota and then come back and lose to them again in the wild card game,
collapse.
They're getting hammered in Chicago. So this is your safest bet. Is beating them, letting a non-division team come in, and you 2 play each other. And the funny thing on how they match up is very freaking similar because these are 2 coaches that are out of the same mold. They're 2 Andy Reid tree guys. They fell from Andy's tree, both Nagy and Doug, and Nagy was here in Philly before. So, as we said it on Sunday, he was I don't know, not a special assistant, like an operational something or other, like telling guys to get back type deal. So he was here. So, these guys go back. They go back. And I think that's another reason why, in Nagy's mind, it was a win for both. He's helping his buddy get in if he goes and beats him.
Yeah.
And it's like, whatever. We're both in the dance. Mm-hmm. You keep jobs if you get in dances.
Yeah.
You keep jobs for a long time. You win divisions and get in dances. And for him to do it in his first year there, right, as a takeover from John Fox, who wasn't good enough, and to be able to come in and get more out of Trubisky that he's gotten out of him, which to me was going to be a real tough thing to do. But they run the ball well. They do all the little things right. They really do. They sort of a mimic of what we were last year in a way. Yeah. But the fact that they're not gonna score 30 every game. But they have the capabilities of they're a big play offense.
They don't need to score.
Yep, and they will flat out come get you.
Mm-hmm.
They got corners that are good, safeties that are good, and a front 4 and 7 that's scary. It's scary. Now, listen, you look at our offensive line, if you want to, there's nothing really to talk about the Redskins, really. We just touched on, hey, we dominated on all sides, right? Mm-hmm. Is there anything important that you felt like you need to get off about that game?
Just the fact that I think the defense built up more confidence. I think now they're rolling. They needed that. They needed another dominating performance to head into the playoffs to build more confidence. And I think their corners are just. I can't say enough about our corners. Avonte Maddox, Rasul Douglas. Our defensive line is fine. Brandon Graham's finally fucking healthy, and he is
playing better.
Oh my God, all over the ball. I think he had 2.5 tackles for loss. So I think that's what stood out to me as a defense. The offense was just basic and just whatever. But
what did it matter? I mean, last year, if you look at it, okay, our secondary was good enough, but our front 7 was damn good.
Yeah.
And that's what carried us a lot through the postseason because we were able to pressure quarterbacks. I mean, it's pretty basic if you watch games. If you can go get a guy, and I always like to talk about early on, right? I don't want to wait to put pressure on you. I want to smack you in the mouth the first time you drop back. Because now I want you to think about me the rest of this football game when you step into a throw.
Make you uncomfortable.
Yep, and that's what it's all about. You want to beat the great quarterbacks in this league, the Bradys, the Rodgers, the other guys like this. You put a ton of pressure on them. Like Chuck said, you make them uncomfortable, make them have to move their spot, different things like that. That's why I'm a big believer in my corners being press guys. I love press guys because now I'm taking you off your spot. You want to go somewhere? I'm stopping you for a second to go somewhere. Now that press, if you're good at it and you can do it well, now you're giving that defensive line even more time to get there. But I think what Jim thinks, and especially with the corners now, is if I play back off of you a little bit, you can get to your spot, but my front 4 is so good that before you get there, they're going to get to you. And I think that's, to try to think like Jim thinks, I think that's sort of the reason why you don't see a lot of bump and run from him too often. Now, you saw a lot more with Jalen and Darby last year and Robinson because you could. Mm-hmm. You really could. I mean, Darby's a legit one in this league. He drives you crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
But, but he's a legit one. Jalen, to me, has always been a legit 2 because he gets his beak wet and tackles, and he steps up red zone wide. But you're right, doesn't create enough turnovers, stuff like that. And then we know what Patrick Robinson was. He was the best nickel corner in football last year. Yeah. So, but all that stems from the fact that Patrick Robinson isn't doing nothing where he went. It all stems from the fact that front, I used to say front 8 last year, could come get you. So now it makes your corners look better. It makes everybody around you better. Mm-hmm. It makes up for having no middle linebacker last year, right? And a part to this year, not having one where Nigel's playing both roles or Camus coming in and really stepping up well. But you're going in as healthy as you're going to get. And I'm interested to see, as we get into the Bears, I'm interested to see if Sidney's playing this week.
That's what they're still.
Not that he's going to be a game changer. I'm just curious.
Well, because LeBlanc has been playing well.
Really good, Chucks. Really good.
Yeah, he's been playing very well. So I'm not worried about Sidney Jones not coming back. But if Sidney Jones is back, and here's the thing, a lot of hate and a lot of anger thrown over Sidney Jones the past few weeks.
Yep.
When he's healthy, he's a baller. Okay, when we saw earlier in this year when he was healthy, he was killing it from the slot. And then he got hurt and was never fully healthy when he was playing against the Cowboys. The
hammy was terrible.
Oh, my gosh. We didn't have anyone else, so they threw him out there.
We would have ran faster at certain points. Remember? You could see him coming up lame on it.
Yeah.
But now the narrative, Chuck's becomes injury-prone. It was a bad pick from Howie. This is what I hate. I'm not saying he's not, right? I'm not even going to go there with you, fam. What I'm going to fucking tell you is you can't take I crush Howie for his picks. I don't think Howie's good at it, all right? I think Joe Douglas helps him, but I don't think he's good enough. I never thought he was good enough, okay? Being consistent with it. Mm-hmm. He's had some players, obviously, but never consistent enough draft-wise. And that pick in that spot is a no goddamn brainer at that time.
Exactly. That's what I said.
That is, if not the best corner, the second best corner of that draft. And because of an Achilles, he dropped. He fell to you.
Why wouldn't you take that high risk, high reward?
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't you?
And it's not over yet.
It's not. It's the second year.
I like to say, hey, you're done when I see you play 16, or if you don't play 16 because you can never stay on the field, then that's fine too. But I need a body of work before I tell you that, hey, you're not good enough. right, or you're injury prone, or A, B, C, and D, right? If you can't play 16 games next year, then guess what the conversation we're going to start having is? Well, maybe Sidney Jones just can't stay healthy.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yeah.
But if you do, I'm not going to be the guy over here saying you're not good enough 2 years into one of the hardest positions to play in pro sports and say you're not good enough now when I haven't even got a full chance to see you.
Exactly.
And next year there's no Achilles excuse because now you're a full 2 years after
From
it.
the Achilles.
From the
Yep.
Achilles. And by next year, hammies are hammies, right? I mean, you can blow a tire at any point, but you just hope he gets his body right. But I still believe that Sidney can be the guy he was at Washington.
Well, I think that the biggest thing as well with Sidney Jones is Chucks, I think we've talked about this before, it's once he gets his NFL body. He hasn't had the opportunity to get
bulk
his
up.
NFL body because last offseason he was still recovering.
Yeah.
It was all about recovery.
He's gotta get some muscle, get into a weight training or weight.
Well, it's tough to
weight
get
gain
your
program,
lower.
yeah.
It's tough to get your lower half going, right? When you got an Achilles injury or you're an ACL, MCL guy, right? And then you expect guys to be able to work out and have stronger legs coming in.
Yes.
You know, you see from Carson. Carson couldn't be lifting weights with his legs.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the one. So now the one's stronger. So it's like almost a guy like that. Like you got to give him the full year now to be able to get in the weight room. You think it's not a video game? These guys just don't wake up playing football. I mean, these guys got to put the work in. They put a ton of work in to play this game. So when I can't lift certain things and get stronger in certain areas, and if I'm a corner and I can't get stronger with my legs, well, I'm in a lot of trouble with that. And I thought he played well when he was healthy early on, like you said. But we'll see how it goes on. I just wanted your opinion on it. Because I see it tossed around a ton.
I have a question for you guys as well. We talked about this earlier. For just the entire Eagles playoff run, if it's one game or if it's an extended period of time, who's under the most pressure? Is it Foles? Is it Peterson? Is it Schwartz? Is it a guy like Lane Johnson this week against Khalil Mack? Which member of the Eagles is under the most pressure for this playoff run?
I think that the easy answer is the answer, and it's Nick Foles, because now you have someone who has the expectations from everyone that are so high, and everyone in the media is like Nick Foles magic. They believe in it. Everyone, like the whole fan base here, is like, it's the Super Bowl MVP. He can do it. He can do it, and for better or for worse. Like, you know me, I try to stay level-headed. Like, I love Nick Foles, but I know it's a team game, and that was my narrative last year. I said, Nick Foles is good enough. We can win with him, but that's because we have a great team around him. And it's the same thing this year. The whole team is playing better, but it's hard because the whole all the media and the whole fan base is putting like everything now is Foles is the face of this playoff run. And because this is also all the articles about him, like if he wins another Super Bowl, he can extend his career and Wentz will be traded. Deion Sanders came out and said if Foles wins another Super Bowl, Wentz should be traded out of Philly. Reuben Frank said if Foles just came out with an article, if Foles wins a Super Bowl, then he will be here long term. Like it's everything is about Nick Foles. And for better or for worse, like I don't think that's fair to him. Like I will come to his defense there and say it shouldn't be about him because that's not fair. Foles is doing what he can, but I think that the spotlight from everyone is on him, and therefore I think the most pressure is on him because if they don't, like if they're one and done and he plays a horrible game,
then what's the narrative?
What's the narrative? That narrative will switch just like that.
Can I be honest with you guys?
Go ahead, yeah.
And you make great points. He's definitely second on my list. I go back to last season or last postseason. It was all about Nick. It was about him. It was his story. It was his story. This year it's different for me. To me, it's about Doug Peterson. It's about Doug Peterson because guess what the narrative has been all season? It's about he lost his guy or guys, DiFilippo and Frank Reich. So it's been shoved in his face.
Heard me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's been shoved in his face that the only reason why they went so far, it wasn't because of Doug. It was about guys who are no longer here.
Yeah, Frank Reich became and I love Frank, but I yelled about this.
He became God.
I yelled this 5 weeks into the year.
Yep.
So now Frank Reich's the smartest guy in the fucking room? I ain't buying that. No. Like I'm not buying that Doug Peterson can't coach. I'm not buying that Doug Peterson doesn't know how to have a game plan and call an offensive game plan. Why would I not believe in that? Mm-hmm. Like we're talking about. I mean, dudes were like going for his neck early on, and to me, I said it the other day. I said it in a video. He should be the coach of the year for the job this team's done, for what he's gotten in the dance with. And through all the injuries and all that, to me, he's the coach of the year because they keep these guys believing after that Cowboys game that's amazing to me.
Yeah.
To go and rattle off a bunch more, that's tough to do when your back's against the wall, you're down your quarterback, you're down playmakers all over the place,
no running game,
and big time money guys that are still on the football team. So you know what? I'm gonna put it on our shoulders, and I'm gonna step up. And I think he kept his locker room believing. He talks about having a great core group of leaders in there that have meetings and handle stuff. So he's got a great connection, from him to the players on that end. And I don't think there's. I said this before. I don't know outside of Bill Belichick if there's a better overall coach in the NFL than Doug Peterson.
And if there's a guy, or for example, if we go on the run like we think we're all capable of, if the Eagles are going to win multiple playoff games and go back to the place that ends in a bowl, if they're going to do that, it's going to take Doug Peterson to game plan the hell out of this to then, number one, figure out how to beat the Chicago Bears defense, two, outscore the Saints in New Orleans, and three, if it's the Cowboys, if it's Seattle, whoever, if it's the Rams, figure out how to get that game. It's going to be about his game plan because about what we don't have on offense, not about what we do. Last year, we had the run game. We had the playmakers. It's nothing like what we do now. It's shredded compared to last year.
Oh, yeah. We were saying it's way worse. It's way worse than it was last year. It's not even close. Last year was key injuries and 5 of them. This year it's
an entire unit.
You can't even keep track. It's all your secondary. It's all your backfield, and then you just go from there on other guys that you got one of your best DNs out for the year. It's just you've had guys that have been on and off the field, which is you got to factor in almost not being here. Your wide receiver that you go out to be your stretch the field guy goes down in week 2. So like everything, you don't get Alshon back to week 4. You get Carson back. It was just a lot of moving parts, and to be able to coach all them moving parts and get this team this far is a hell of a job.
Your biggest trade line get, or your big trade deadline get, he can't be involved in the offense. He's a pedestrian.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not him. It's not,
I think there's a lot of people to throw the football to, and
I think
hopefully he can make a big play this week that can break a game open because he has the capabilities of doing it.
I will say this, and
Chicago too.
And I will stick up for my guy again because I think remember in the offseason, early offseason, we were always like that report came out that Doug Peterson would always go to Howie, be like, when are we re-signing Sproles? When are we re-signing Sproles? Doug was so excited to get him back. And I think now, when we touched upon it earlier, we see why. Because Doug Peterson loves to run this offense with certain plays around Sproles. And I think that even though we've lost a lot of running backs, I think it's going to be very interesting in the playoffs now to see what Sproles can do in the playoffs for this team. We didn't get that last year. Like, Clement came in and was awesome in a certain role that he had to play. But I think we can all agree, Clement, as good as he was, he's still no Sproles.
No.
Sproles is uncanny in making plays in the open field, in the passing game, in the running game. Like, he doesn't touch the ball much. But when he does, he makes stuff happen. He's 35 years old, and for somehow, some way, he makes stuff happen. I am anticipating a big playoff performance or performances from Sproles. I think he's one of the key pieces to this offense that some people just don't understand. I think Doug Peterson said it all along. Sproles does so much for what they want to do.
He absolutely does, and he can make that 1 or 2 big plays a game that change drives.
Yep.
And we know how important that is. A big third down conversion, an extended drive. Things like that. Make a guy miss, break off a 15-yard run. Little things like that, like this explosiveness that he brings is huge for this offense.
Yes.
Because we don't have anybody in the backfield that can bring that either.
Yeah.
So having it's even more important than it was. Michael DeAndrea was talking about, Nagy runs a similar offense to Reed and Peterson, so Schwartz will be all over it, I believe, and vice versa, brother. You know what I mean? They know us. We know them.
So Sweeps just texted me. Translator. He said, I know Tommy's answer, but let's ask 2 impartial cats. Do the Eagles win these last 3 games with 11 under center?
Yes, if the game plan changed If they were to call a better game plan than they were before, and everyone stepped up like they have, yes.
Well, why can't we say the same thing?
That's the thing.
Like, I know you don't want to hear from me, but you're going to hear from me. Why can't we say the same thing? Why couldn't we win 2 or 3, go into the Rams, everybody count us out, and go there and beat them?
Yeah.
Why can't we? And then we start believing. Like, all it did was we went to LA and we beat them there, and then guys really started buying in that they can make a run again. So, to me, it's hard to say no. Like, anybody says no, it's just, to me, it's just pure hatred for Carson.
Yeah.
Just because I say, yeah, I think they could, if we start getting guys back, blah, 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 that I think we could, doesn't mean I'm like, Carson can do no wrong. I just seen a team step up around as well. I seen a quarterback come in and play really well. But I also seen a bunch of guys around start making plays.
Exactly. I think
that matters.
What bothers me is people want to point the finger at Carson when Carson wasn't the issue. He really wasn't. It was coaching. It was everyone else expecting him to be Superman when he's hurt. And he can't do it by himself.
Nope.
Like, that's the thing. Like, people want, and that's why I'm with you when it comes to, like, being so frustrated with all, like, this hate and, like, anger that people are directed toward Wentz. And it has nothing to do with how we feel about Foles. It really doesn't, because we love Foles. We absolutely do. It's the fact that people don't know how to differentiate when to blame and when to give credit to the quarterback position. And Ryan, I say this all the time on Birds of a Feather. All the time. I say it every week. It's like some people, they just don't know how to differentiate when to give the quarterback position the right due and when to not. And you have to know that when it came to these issues, it wasn't like Carson had his flaws.
Oh, yeah.
But the main issue wasn't him. It was the coaches.
I said at times he was inconsistent. And I'm not running from that. I think there was times he was definitely inconsistent.
Do you remember early on in the
better second halves than he did first half?
Do you remember early on in the season in when the Panthers lost? Like, that game, because people, it drives me crazy. I had people on the group saying that I never criticized Wentz. I literally had to go back and screenshot things where I did. Who was one of the first people to say Wentz didn't check it down to Smallwood late in the Panthers game? It was me. I went and I pulled up a screenshot from Twitter and I put a whole post on the group saying Wentz fucked up. I said Wentz should have checked it down to Smallwood on 3rd down to pick up the first. And there were people on the group that criticized me for criticizing Wentz, saying, "Oh, you're the Monday morning quarterback. You're nitpicking. It's easy to say that." And I'm like, "No, he should have hit that. He should have hit Smallwood." So don't come at me and say I've never been critical of Wentz. I am critical of Wentz when you need to be, but I keep it objective because I know when it's right to give him blame and when it's not.
Yeah. Well, Bill Middlebrook has an issue with me. Tom, why did they step up for Foles? Why do you praise him so much more? So I'm gonna let me answer the first two, Bill. Let's start with the first two because I'm getting sick and tired of goddamn narrative that I hate on Foles or that whatever this is anymore. I can't do it. For 3 freaking weeks or 4 weeks, however long it's been, I've been saying the goddamn thing, and nobody ever wants to listen to me. Nobody ever wants to listen. Rob the jackass goes make stupid memes about me. Everybody wants to say Tom has Foles freaking hate, which is outlandish, and I can't deal with it anymore. I don't hate the guy at all. I love the fucking guy. Where do I always stick up for Carson? Because I believe in my franchise guy too? I can't believe in both. I'm so sick. Why can't I? I believed in the guy since the second we drafted him. So now I'm supposed to stop believing in what my eyes tell me about his talent level and everything else. I'm supposed to just give up. I'm supposed to run. Where do I not give Nick credit? When have I sat here and said, oh, it has nothing to do with Nick? When? Okay, you want to know why they step up around Nick so much? You guys really need to know this? Okay? Because their star went down. And if we don't know this team yet, when everything goes wrong and nobody believes, they put up a fucking fight like it's nobody's business. So stop telling me they step up because of Nick. You ever hear the backup goalie thing? It's real. These are human beings. So let me continue, since it's all about me and supposedly Nick with the narrative here, because I'll shred it the fuck up. Why are they making shrines in the locker room? It's a joke, brother. It's to try to create some positivity out of it. If you think for a second that two big-time veterans in this league, and Chris Long and Fletcher Cox, would do that shit if they thought it'd be an issue for 11, see, you all don't get it. Them two were best of friends. But y'all are trying to make it out like they don't like each other. I'm fucking tired of it. Shrines. Okay. Why are they dumbing down the game down? That answer is a joke. I never said they're dumbing it down. I didn't say they dumbed it down at all. I don't think they dumbed it down.
I'll say it. Here, I'll answer that. I said it. You know why I said it? Because the coaches said it. Like, why is that such a fucking thing, like a hard thing to admit?
All right, hold on. They said simplify.
They simplified
it. Simplify. Let's clear it up.
Sorry, is that not like a straight translation for you? I'm sorry. Okay, I'll keep it as simplified. They simplified the game plan. Go back a few weeks. Go to the news articles. Doug Peterson said it in his press conference. Every football analyst out there says it in their interviews and what they say about the how things have changed. The game plan is different. Play calling is different. It's about short passes and doing things that Foles does well. It's the same thing that happened last year. Does everyone not remember when we went to the playoffs? There was that whole thing about Doug Peterson saying, I went back and I watched a lot of Chip Kelly tape because I know that Chip Kelly's offense was what Foles did well. So I went back and I implemented a bunch of those concepts, the RPOs, the simplified reads, to help Foles out. It's the same thing. Why is it so hard to remember that? It's not speculation. It's not me hating on Foles and saying that he sucks. It's me stating fact. It's fact. I'm going to be here and give Foles credit because under those play calls and that offense, he's doing so well. He's doing it. He's running it as it's supposed to be run. I'm simply saying don't compare them two running the same offense and saying Foles is doing it better. No, they're two different offenses. They're two different offenses, two different game plans and everything. So you can't compare and say that Foles is better because he has better vision with this. No, they're different reads. They're different throws. Watch the damn game. Like, open your eyes, learn something. That's what drives me crazy is the fact that people have such a hard time admitting that this game plan and the game calling is different with Foles. It is. It is. The coaches said it. Doug Peterson said it. So, like, just stop. Stop giving on us because I use it as an answer when it's the actual truth. People like to, they know how to
Supposedly I read it wrong. That's just the point of having to read like text messages. You know, I can read it any way I want to. Okay, Bill, you say face the facts. They like Foles better, and that's a problem. You claim that they talk about him better. I don't buy that, bro. I think if you go back and listen throughout last year and listen to the post-game interviews about Carson, listen to Zach and Lane and Kelsey and them guys talk about Carson Wentz. Because this is, again, fitting in the moment shit. Like we can't even get into Bears-Eagles because we're talking about the same stupid shit.
Yet again.
The same stupid shit. It's stupid. To say Carson can't run Doug's offense well is a joke and not fair because he lit lamps last year. So that's not fair. So any thing we want to try to bring up isn't going to be fair at all to either one of them. Like we talked about, you have two quarterbacks that you should love them both, and that's that. And the chips will fall the right way.
Any hate toward either of them, that's just asinine. If you're gonna go out and hate and say, oh, one of them sucks, that's when you're just stop it. Just stop.
Yep.
I don't hate either one of them. Neither does Tom. We never said that either of them sucks. The whole backlash of everything is just the fact that there's so many people now that want to write off Carson Wentz just because Nick Foles is doing well. That's not fair. That's really not fair at all. It really isn't.
Bill, I don't think you're right. I read it all perfectly fine. I don't. It's A2D radio. Agree to disagree. I don't have to agree with you. I love you. I don't have to agree with you on this one. I don't buy in that. Oh, they just like Nick better. Who was just chiming in? What was her name? Was it Donna? She goes, I am so glad that Foles and Wentz are not concerned about this right now. They are concerned with the task at hand. And on all caps, that is it. And the task at hand is to go beat the Chicago Bears. So before we head on the break, Chucks, give me a score prediction, offense, defensive player of the game.
Score prediction, I'm going to go I think I'm going to go 17-14 Eagles. Defensive player of the game. Oh, man. Defensive player of the game, I'm going to go Malcolm. I think Malcolm will be all over the place. But, I mean, it could be anyone. On the offensive side of the ball, though, I think the offensive player of the game is going to be Darren Sproles. I think we're going to see the first of many great performances from Darren. I think that he's going to be a mismatch problem for those linebackers. So 17-14, Malcolm and Darren.
I love it. Right, what do you got?
20-18 Birds. Offensive player of the game, Dallas Goedert. Defensive player of the game, Michael Bennett.
Nice. I like the Bennett one.
Yeah, mine's 24-17. Defensively, it's the same guy weekly. It's number 91 in your playbook.
Number one in your hearts.
Number one in your hearts, and he needs to flat out dominate and pretty much do what he likes to do when there's other guys on the other side of the football that are considered the best in their positions. Well, you got a D end over there, whatever you want to call it, outside linebacker, pass rushing specialist, and you got two of them really in Floyd and Khalil Mack.
Akeem Hicks, don't forget about Akeem Hicks.
Akeem Hicks. I would love for Fletcher to say this Sunday that this is about me showing that I'm the best lineman in football and eating up and eating Mitchell that fuck up. On the offensive side of the football, I love the Darren. I love the Dallas. Hopefully, like a big play. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with the man, dude. I'm going to go with the guy with the hot hand, and I'm not going to go to quarterback position. I'm going to go Alshon Jeffrey.
Ooh, his return to Chicago?
Yeah, his return to Chicago.
Oh,
and
man.
if it's the Alshon I know, the reason I put 24 on the board is because he scores 2.
I like that pick. Yep.
And listen, you got to be able to run the ball, and that's going to be some uphill sledding for us. Okay, it's not going to be easy. And like Doug likes to talk about, you got to remind himself throughout this football game to stick with it. Don't just abandon it.
Yep.
And we're talking about the weather's not going to be as bad as it could be in Chicago, so we're lucky there. But it's a tough game. I'm scared. I don't use the word scared. I'm a little nervous with their defense. But on the other side of the football, I'm pretty confident that we can shut down a young quarterback.
Yes.
But, Jimmy, I know Jim's really talked about simplified. Jim's talked about simplified a lot more than Doug has, okay, to clarify to the people. Doug hasn't said that a bunch or if at all, like once or twice about, like, changing things up and doing stuff like that. Jimmy's talked about it weekly. Mm-hmm. And this went back to the Giants game where Malcolm had that interception. And in the second half, him and Malcolm talked about, hey, we got some guys in here who haven't played in a while. Let's just dumb it down. And what they did is they went back to basics and dumbed down their defense. Now, where you have a lot of guys who played for a minute, you got to mix things up this Sunday. You got to keep him guessing. You got to show blitz and not bring anybody. You got to show and bring it. I mean, you got to differentiate. You got to show different looks. It can't be like Sweeps like to say, the missionary, I'm just bringing 4, and that's all I'm going to bring the whole game. You got to show a young quarterback different looks that maybe he hasn't seen before. Yeah. Michael D'Angelo was talking about, well, we know what they run. Well, it goes both ways. So do they, right? But we know what they run, too, offensively, and their styles. And hopefully, we can change some looks up and give him some tough looks where, hey, we need to create turnover or 2. To me, playoff football is not won unless you win the turnover battle. I just don't. Yeah. On the road, you're not going to go in many places and beat a team on the road this time of year if you're turning the football over 2 or 3 times and they don't. Well, that's a loss. So, to me, it's up to this defense and guys like Avonte Maddox, Rasul has some knack for the football, Malcolm. How about we talk about this? Strip sack. Love strip sacks.
Let's do it, yeah.
It'd be a great time for a strip sack down in their end, hopefully early on in the game. Because, Chuck, it comes down to it, and, right, we have to score early. Like we talk about, the least amount of points in the first quarter in all of football. Well, you want to win now in January?
Points. Yeah.
Well, you got to be able to run the football. You got to play defense, and you got to be able to get leads early. So I love that we kick our always. I love that. Put the D on the field, get a stop, get the ball at halftime because we're a better second half team. So I want the same thing this Sunday, and hopefully what we can do is like we went to play in L.A. 3 and out. Remember that? 3 and out. Put the offense right on the field. Now you're feeling good about yourself.
Yep.
Because I think that scripted first drive for teams is so important to get them off the field. Because now you're like, shit, that's everything we worked on all week.
Yeah, and then
we went
you're
3
off.
and out. Oh,
Yeah.
this is going to be tough.
Yeah.
So,
Speaking of turnovers, by the way, I saw on Twitter, Rube put on Twitter, I think it was this morning or last night, that there's only 2 teams the entire NFL season that didn't have a return touchdown, and it was the Colts and was us. That ends on Sunday. I believe that. Well, I think the pace of the game is going to be a lot of what the Vikings game was. Obviously, the score's not going to be crazy, but as we all know, the Vikings came out firing, and then a pick 6 changed it all.
Yes.
It made an overachieving quarterback kind of crawl and never come back. That's what's going to happen. I think Rasul's going to have a pick 6 in the first.
that's
in the
huge.
first
Something
quarter.
we haven't had,
That
like
was
you said.
huge, yep.
That's huge. John McFadden said the MVPs of this game need to be the whole O-line.
Yeah.
Mac is a serious problem, and he's right. But we talked about right before we got sidetracked a little bit off of it. But real quick before we had the break, you're talking about Pro Bowl, All-Pro guys up front for us. We know what Brooks is. Brooks going to the Pro Bowl. He's an All-Pro guy. Lane Johnson, All-Pro guy. All right, Jason Kelsey, All-Pro guy. Jason Peters at the downside of his career, but a Hall of Fame guy. A vet. And it doesn't matter even what's in the middle of him. You know what I mean? So you're talking about 4 out of 5 guys, at any year have the capability of being All-Pro, Pro Bowl caliber players.
And Wisniewski ain't bad. He played well.
Yep. So
He
shut
played well.
the fuck up, like John said, and let's shut him down up front. Because to us, if you look at both sides of football, where you win at? Where you win? You win in one place. You win up front on both sides. So to me, match our D-line up against their O-line. Well, their O-line isn't
that- yeah,
special.
It's not spectacular.
Right? You match up their D-line. Now, I'll obviously wash D-lines. I'll wash them.
Yeah.
I'll say they're even.
Yeah.
They might, like, if Barnett was healthy, it'd be a lot easier for us. But we got Graham if healthy, right? Playing better. Fletch, obviously playing a lot better.
Timmy.
Huge.
Okay. Bennett, who's a pimp.
Long's playing
Long
great.
is
Chris
playing-
Long came off a milk carton. Him and like other guys started to come off cartons, like Fletcher did first.
Yeah.
Right. Bennett's always been here, but then other guys decided, oh, you know what? Let me come off the carton.
Yeah.
Right. And they're finally starting to. But we're deeper there. With the loss of what we lost, we're still deeper. So I could give us an edge, but I'm not going to because I don't want to be called biased. So I'll wash it, right?
Yeah.
When I go to the other side of football, they're loaded. I've been talking about it. I sit on the round table. They could be the Shaq of 2019. They go to win the Super Bowl. They're built to do it. Now, I don't believe in the young quarterback, but they're still built to do it. So I got a lot of respect for what they got up front. But I got a bunch of dudes on my own line that did book tours this year. Right? Talked about how they're their fucking best.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
We're gonna break.
And you
Time's yours.
You got to include the fact that what have I been talking about for the past hour? This offense is now predicated on short passes, short, quick passes. What is the one thing that nullifies our pass rush and drives us crazy, especially when we play the Giants? Quick, short passes. Our offense is going to get rid of the ball quick, very quick. That's going to nullify that pass rush a lot of the times.
Yep.
So it's not that, it's not.
But what
that,
do we
like,
do well, Chucks?
For what?
You're wearing a good jersey for this question.
Screen.
How do you beat? Now, this is both sides of the football.
Yeah.
Nagy's a screen junkie, too. I mean, you got screen heaven.
Cohen?
Oh, you got screen heaven going on.
Yeah.
No, you really do, because these two coaches are out of the mold of Andy, where the screen game's fucking Andy's in love with. I mean, how many times are just quick passes to Tyreek Hill on the outside, and he takes it, right? Like, not even screen games, just quick passes, right? Now, to me, on their outside, they're not built for that. But you look at their offense, Trey's always been a playmaker to me.
Yes.
Love me some Trey. Great locker room guy, too. Such a sad loss that you win a Super Bowl because now he's going to go get paid. It's good for him because he got a blank check for it, which is awesome for the kid. But definitely a loss for us. And you see Dallas starting to fill it slowly, which a young kid, you expect time. It takes time in this.
He was also the extension of the O-line.
Trey
for the
took
first
3
9 weeks.
years or 4 years before he finally.
Before he
became the athlete and the matchup problem he was.
For the first 9 weeks, they didn't let. We talked about this, Chucks. They didn't let Dallas go because he was the extension of the O-line. He was
he's
was
a good
Brent
blocker.
Selleck.
Run blocker.
He was Brent Selleck.
Let me tell you something. That dude's got it all. You want to talk about
Oh,
all
my
package?
God, yeah.
You want to talk about hands like Velcro shit, right? And then the
Athletic.
ability to lay dudes out. Like Zach Ertz can't block me or you. No. I love Zach. I told you he's a tight end wide receiver pimp. He's probably the best in the league, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
But
and
he
he's not
can't
a diva. He's not a diva either, like to the media. So he's like a wideout that's not a diva. That's a fucking win, right? But he can't block nobody. Like Nelson, you see it. Nelson comes in the motions and blocks more than Zach does. And then Nelson's
That's really true. That's right.
And Nelson's a good blocker downfield on corners and safeties and shit. He's just old. That's why I like Nelson, because I feel like all our wideouts do the extra stuff that we talk about. You got to be able to block downfield well. You know what I mean? You know, Gold's another good blocker.
Richard Rodgers. Now that he's back,
another good blocker.
Well, allows Dallas Goedert to go downfield. That's the biggest thing. Once he came off IR, he's shown up now.
And that's another injury to put on the list of injuries. That was an acquisition of Phil Brent Selleck.
Yeah.
The Phil Brent Selleck, and it never worked out that way till now.
Yeah.
Now, hey. Nothing before matters right now. When you get in the dance, it's a wash.
Yep.
Okay? We're starting 0-0. Who's going to beat whose ass? And I'm excited. It took me a minute because there was a lot of emotion. And listen, I'm a Carson guy, and I feel for a kid who's not getting this opportunity again.
I know, yeah.
And listen, you can tell me, oh, you're on your knees for him, whatever you want to say, Tom. No, I care about my players. All right? I care about all my players equally. Just like if Nick got hurt and Carson couldn't play and Sudfeld came in, I would be dying for Nick.
Oh, yeah.
You know, in terms of like, man, that's fucking a tough break.
Yeah.
I've had it happen to Nick plenty of times.
When Foles went down each of the last 2 games, I was like, fuck, no. Like, please don't let this happen.
Sudfeld sighting.
That's like I joke around like, oh, Nate Sudfeld's in, but like in my heart and back of my mind, I'm like, fuck, please let Foles be okay.
Right.
Like,
or I'm like, well, I said if his ribs are broke, here comes Carson back.
Yeah.
And it would be so fitting, like, you know, I don't want Foles' ribs to break, but it would be just fitting how, like, swapped.
It would be the perfect movie again.
Yeah, it was swapped. Michael DeAndre says Trey hasn't done much. Well, because his quarterback's name's Mitchell.
Yeah.
Okay, but he can do enough, Mike. But I agree with you. Like, numbers-wise, no, but enough. Bill says, yes, Tom, Alshon Tate and Nelson bring them down in the field. The middle is plugged with Dallas and Zach, and the screen is there all day. Yep, no question. John McFadden, very happy we didn't give up Nelson. He's made strides 2 years ago. And this was a guy who ran out of this city, and I was probably the only backer for Nelson, and you know that. Yeah. And Sweeps is listening, and he really knows that because it became a son of mine. Donna says, is there any way they can let Carson play a bit? Donna, I love you, and I'm right with you. But like we talked about, you go with the guy who got you in. And, you know, granted, I told you, Carson won 2 out of 3 games, but, you know, Nick just won a bunch.
There's only one.
And it's not just Nick, but he was the guy at the helm, so you got to ride what's working. And I love Carson, but, you know, I would love to be able to, like, put him in for a play or two. But, you know, you can't – you're not there yet. He's not healthy enough.
He's not healthy enough.
Which they did a disservice in this whole process by not IRing him.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's going on with that?
Now, the only thing I can think about, the reason they didn't, is because if Nick goes down –
they want someone.
But he's not. Now, does he dress? Now, here it is. Does he dress in the playoffs?
He can't. He can't. You know why? The imagery, because you know what Fox or any. You know,
they'll be all over him. The second he throws a pick,
is going to kill it.
Like the Knicks pick against Washington, right?
They showed.
Oh, my God! I'll be running on the field. Get him in. Get him in! I'm done with this. That's a terrible ball.
Here's the thing. With
they can't dress him. They can't.
With Foles going down, at least like against the Texans, he went down for a snap, and then coming out of the game against the Redskins, in the back of the coaching staff's mind, they're like, one hard blow and Foles could be out. So I don't care. I don't care what I get what you're saying. You're absolutely right. Fox is gonna or whatever network's gonna run with it. Whatever. Yeah. If Wentz is dressed on the sideline. But if you're the coach, you don't care about that. You're like, if Foles legit is going to go down and Wentz is healthy enough to dress, that's a question to have. Like, do you dress Wentz because you might need him? Because that's a legit question to me. Like,
and it's not. And Chuck, you're right, because it's not one of the questions where it's like, well, we're trying to create a conspiracy here. We're just trying to think like, okay, I'm trying to go win a playoff game.
Yeah.
So I love Nate, but if Carson is is 90%, I want him dressed.
You have more confidence.
Yeah.
You can't say that you have more confidence in Nate Sudfeld than you do like an 80-90% Carson Wentz. And you can't say that. If you really do say that, then you really are hating. Like,
so let's get the break because we'll keep this up all day. Fam, I just dropped the link. And John McFadden just asked the same question we just brought up. Does he draft? Hey, we'll continue our Eagles talk on the other side. Over on YouTube side of things, everybody on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, head on over to YouTube. Big question over there. I want your score prediction, offense, defensive player of the game, and back to our poll, how far will the Eagles go in the playoffs? This is Tom, no Mike, AM, in the PM, HUD Radio, Tom Renone, Charles Moranin, Ryan Brodo, on the ones and twos. Family out there, head on over every Wednesday. We are brought to you by our certified public accountant. Make them yours, Gibson Mayer, LLC. Find them on the web, GibsonMayer.com. And you can't forget, you need the massage done, whatever. You have some issues with the back, arms, physical therapy, LLC. Burlington, Cherry Hill, Princeton, New Jersey. Dr. Paul Vidal, tell him HUD sent you. See you on the other side.
Well, hello again, everyone. This is Bob Mannery, and you're listening to Tom and Mike. AM in the PM, only on A2D Radio. Tom and Mike, these guys are fucking awesome. But their side piece, Greg, that guy is a goddamn problem.
Missed it?
This one.
Fucking crub. Tom, no Mike, AM, in the PM, A2D Radio, live from the Real Talk Studios, like we are every night here and every Wednesday and some other nights as well. We are brought to you by our certified public accountant, Gibson Mayer LLC. Find them on the web, gibsonmayer.com. Little change up. We said curveball earlier, so I just threw a change up to that curveball. Tom, or no, Charles Moran and Ryan Brotto, how are you guys? No, I hate that. I hate that. Like,
how was your weekend?
I hate that at the beginning of shows. Like, nobody out there gives a rat's ass how your weekend was.
No.
Like, we do that before shows.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what's up, buddy? How was this? How was that? You know what I mean?
We get that on phone calls.
Yeah, you get that. Get that shit out
before
of the way.
we get to the studio.
Yeah, like we're here to talk sports. We got a time limit to it. Not really. We can really talk as long as we fucking wanted to, but you get the premise.
Yeah.
We keep that out. But we do care. I just want to clarify. Like, we care about what you're doing in your life, but we handle pre-show
We
business.
don't open up the show like, oh, it's chilly out, huh? What's the 7-day forecast? It's not hashtag weather
small
talk.
talk.
Well, maybe we should start doing that beforehand, like a little pre-show.
God. No,
and
pre-show.
we'll just small talk.
No,
Like, hey, buddy,
please,
how's
God,
the dog? Good. Kids are good?
Start off with a story about
Well,
your weekend.
The only guy we have here that actually has a kid is the Uncle Sweeps, I think.
Mr. Eat.
Oh, yeah, you forget about him because he's a train wreck.
Well, we can wishful thinking when never mind.
Okay, we're getting deep, right? We're getting far. We gotta get back. We gotta reel it back in.
I caught myself.
No, it's fine. We're gonna reel back in and go to the Super Bowl. It's fine. I'll see you on Broad, and
let's
we'll
go.
continue our small talk.
By the way, I think Machado is he
Oh.
here?
I will freak out when that happens because let me tell you something. Before we get in the deep Eagles here, Manny Machado's probably coming to Philly. I'm
Boy, I
not
hope
buying. I am not buying the Yankees.
He's not here already.
I'm not buying the Yankees. Like, Mike would love to talk about this tonight, but we talked about it a little bit last Wednesday, but it's Scott Boras 101. Like, that article was posted by the New York Post. It's to drive up prices. Why do you think his players wait? Why do you think a lot of other players have waited to sign? Because it's all about what Boras' contracts get. And he's all about driving it up and making as much money as he can. So if he puts the Yankees as big time in that situation, in that conversation, well, guess what happens? Now it makes Philly have to pay more. And the fact that they talked to him about playing third base, Gabe rolled out his fucking analytical book like the crumb he is, but hopefully it was enough to sell the guy. Because I'll say it again, and I'll say it to him blue in the face, and it will be the last thing I say about it. If they don't get one of the two, it was a failure of an offseason. And I'm almost at the point that if they don't get both, they didn't do enough. Now, they're going to be damn good with one. But if they don't, they have the opportunity to land both of them. You sign one, we'll let the other follow. Come home too, baby. We want you both. It's the best fan base in sports. We'll be there every night rocking that little bankage out. All right, back to Birds, because Chuck's ain't the baseball geek. You know what I mean? So we made it clear in our criteria. It was heavy Eagles, and that one's on me. All right, I take full responsibility. Time's yours. Little Andy.
Full circle.
Andy, Nagy, Doug. Let's go. All right, so we gave our predictions, and we're all like in the same area. I like your 17-14. Rye throws a curveball 20-18, which how the fuck they get to 18?
A miss Jake Elliott.
Wait, hold on. A miss Jake
Well,
Elliott.
both are missing.
18. You talking about 18? We all field goals for the Bears?
No, I'm talking about the 24. No. For the Bears, I have a lot of field goals.
Okay, you get field goal heaven.
Yeah.
All right. Fair.
No touchdowns. Okay. All right, field goal heaven.
Or no, one touchdown, but a missed extra point, and then the rest field goal.
Okay, so you got them.
Okay.
You're
going 6, and then
Okay.
You got
Three
two,
sets in
you got a
there,
double
okay.
dip of extra points, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And what was that? 24-17.
Yeah.
All right. And we all have different players of the game, which we do here.
Yep.
Nobody picks the same, but we want yours. And I say it weekly. You put that in the chat, you screenshot it, you send it in Messenger to A2D Radio, you post it right to A2D's page on any platform. It doesn't matter. Send it wherever you're at. All right, I don't know if you can do it on fucking YouTube, but you can do it everywhere else. Grow up, YouTube. There's no messenger in YouTube. They're not built that way. We get it.
They're not ready.
But other ones are. So we want you to be ready to win some fucking money. So put it in. Offense, defensive part of the game, score predictions. Let us know. We want to dive into that. And wild card weekend as a whole should be fun, just because it always is.
Oh, thank God. Well, not like last year. Remember the matchups that we had like who? Or that one, I don't know if it was last year, the 1 year where Derek Carr got injured.
2 years,
so,
2
years ago, right? And then it was something was Connor Cook.
It was Connor Cook versus
then
Brock Osweiler.
And then
Brock
wasn't it a
Osweiler.
Matt McGloin sighting or no? No.
God.
But no, yeah. No, it was tough
And it was Bills Jaguars wildcard weekend, I think, last year.
last year.
That was a snooze fest.
Well, you look at another team now. I think the Jags were home in that football game, but another team that had to go on the road and win 2 to get to the conference championship, and a team, obviously their defense was a lot better than ours, but a team, that you could say we're still built better than right now was able to make that kind of little push. Like I think getting to the poll question side of it, getting like how far will they go? Well, I think a huge success was just getting in, right?
Yeah.
So now, if I want to build off of that, if you get to a conference championship, let me tell you something. If Doug Peters takes to a conference championship, I give him a 10-year deal. I give him a 10-year deal that the second they win the divisional round. 10-year deal. You say, or actually, fuck the 10-year deal. That's what you give to Machado and Harper. What you give the Doug is unlimited contract. You're here forever. When you're done, you're done. It's like it's a little handshake. You don't even sign paperwork.
Well, the Bill Cowher contract is like once you decide to tell you.
Whenever you want to just be done with football, you can leave here. But until then, you're here. And that's how important of a job. I know Ryan touched on it. I've touched on it throughout the week. I think I did a video earlier on the week how great of a job he did and how he's gotten zero credit because everybody else was the smartest guy. It had nothing to do with him. It was all Frank. It was all DeFilippo. It was all LeGarrette Blount. It was all this guy. And what can you use as momentum? This team's always found ways to use things as momentum. Well, why can't you use momentum as, what? They didn't believe we could do it without this guy. They didn't believe we could do it without Vinny. Whatever, you know what I mean? The different guys who are going here. Trey Burton, we weren't good enough now without these guys. Frank Reich, DeFilippo, the names continue, right? And then what does this team look like they're doing right now? You want to say who they're rallying around? I think they're rallying around that everybody said that they weren't good enough. It wasn't about them. It's always been about somebody else in this fucking city. It's what we do, right? It's never about the guys playing. It's about all you guys you lost. So we weren't good enough, right? Because we lost what? Vinny Curry, Bo Allen, Patrick Robinson, okay, Trey Burton. The list goes on, right, of other guys. Torrey Smith, LeGarrette Blount, right? So you lose guys. It's part of winning a Super Bowl, right? And you're going to lose guys the more money than you're going to pay them for, especially role players like you lost, okay? And what you're finding out now is I think, and the coaching staff you lost, I think guys, even in this coaching staff, are taking it as a chip on their shoulder. Mm-hmm. Mike Groh is getting run out of here, and rightfully so. Rightfully fucking so, okay? No, not running from that. But listen, your life's all about your response to shit. And his response has been better game plans, okay? And he's getting guys to step up around him to help him keep his job. Same thing with Jim Schwartz, a guy I was running out of here. Well, guess what? You got guys playing football back there. And you're down to your third stringers. Guys that you weren't expecting to start this year in any capacity because you were deep as shit back there.
Yeah.
So let me give Howie Roseman credit for drafting at the cornerback position and understanding the need for it. Because without that, and I crush this dude. I don't like his draft. But it shows you the importance of these later picks that are able to step in and fill big-time roles on this football team.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to say about Jalen, he's a starting corner in this league. It hurts to lose him. You don't want to lose a guy like that.
He was a 7th round pick. To get a player like him in the 7th round.
And he's a worker. That's
a big hit.
And that's why he's physical and does some of the things you like out of him, even though he gets beat a lot. Okay? Darby, so you lose them two, right? And then you lose Sid for a significant amount of period of time. Okay? Then you lose Rodney McLeod. And I believe there's been more corners lost in this process as well. Okay? So, you just keep going down corners and you just – guys are next man up. And it's the same thing as you saw last year. So to me, you go to a conference championship, that's a 10-year deal or an infinity deal for Doug Peterson. But I want to know what your guys success is built off of for this year? Is it already successful and it's a job well done, which I'm a believer in? Or do you need more to call this season a success?
It's tough because
and family, please let us know as well.
It's a tough question because I was asked that question by a friend, and like if the Eagles don't make it to the Super Bowl, is this a failure of a season? And it's like a twofold question. Like I have to have two different answers. It's like if you asked me based on what my preseason prediction was, it's a failure because I expected us to make it deep into the playoffs and make it back to the Super Bowl. And considering, everyone that was coming back, the stacked roster we had, Carson coming back and everything. So knowing that, like, if we don't make it there, like, even if we were, like, out in the first or second round, that's a disappointment. But if you need to, the other part of me says, look at the season as it has gone. Take the context of the season unfolding into account, and knowing that we got hit with a bunch of injuries. There were numerous times this team was supposed to be out of it, like you keep saying, and that's absolutely true. Like, numerous times we were like, oh, this team's done, like, it's not the same. And the fact that we fought back again and made it to the playoffs, then you can't give another answer of yeah, it's a success, because they showed again there is resiliency. You want to see again this team, this core of a team, can fight through resiliency and still keep fighting, which is the same thing they did last year. Is that still a mentality of this team? And it absolutely is. Do we still have a great coach in Doug Peterson? Absolutely we do. Do we still have the makings of a great franchise for the next several years, not just now, for the next several years? Are we built, does it look like we're built for the future? Yeah, because we have a pretty good core, and we have, in this upcoming draft, 12 picks. We have 12 picks to set us up for the next few years. So I think that, like I said, twofold. If you ask me in terms of what my preseason prediction was, it's a failure. But if you ask me right now, the guy that knows everything that has gone on in the season and takes everything into account, I say yes, it was a success.
Yeah, because I completely agree with you. I mean, I think everybody to a man. I mean, I had this team going back to the Super Bowl. I think they were built to go right back and even better in spots. So, I had them going far. So, I agree with that, and then things change. So then your expectations as this season went on has changed. So I think we both agree it's a success. I don't necessarily need more for it to be success. I think anything else just shows even more what the key word for this team that they love is adversity. This team's built off adversity. They're built off of you not believing, and they're built off of reading the shit on how they're not good enough. And I truly believe it, because I was a believer in the Super Bowl hangover and the book tour that I talked about earlier on in the year. And I was a believer in that because you read all the press clippings how nobody's better than you. Well, we're all human beings, right? Somebody recognized me in fucking Orlando, right? So, we're human beings. It gets you a little jazzed, feel good about yourself? Absolutely, or you're not human, okay? So, you know what I'm saying? So imagine on that level, right? I mean, I'm talking about a baby level, little baby infant level. Imagine on that fucking level. Imagine on that fucking level. Everywhere you go, motherfuckers telling you how great you are. And not just being a football player in general, you get it, but now you're the champs. That's hard it's hard to get up the next day and mentally say, I'm going to go work harder than the next guy. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's mentally, you got to be stronger. And what this season showed me is, throughout all that, they still worked their tails off. And it maybe came late, but it's better late than never.
It was like last year it was like they got off hot and they never came down. Like they were on a roll. Wentz came out firing, and that confidence was just there. That swagger was there the whole year, and they rode that confidence level the whole season all the way up to the Super Bowl. That's what it was. It's like no one can beat us. But then this year, this is the season where they finally get punched in the mouth. They're like, no, it ain't going to come that easy, bro. It ain't going to come that easy.
Well, what did Doug talk about every press, right? Brian knows it. Every presser. And any Super Bowl champ has the same conversation. We're the hunted.
Yep.
Okay? Last year, you sneak up on people.
Not this year.
This year, everybody, no matter what your record is judging their franchise off of this game against you. Well, how do we stack up against the best? It happens to New England yearly, okay? Now, you got to learn how to deal with that. You got to learn how to mentally put the work in that week, game plan-wise, execution-wise, and then to be able to go out mentally and execute that and have the fire to get it done. And there's points in this year where guys weren't getting it done.
Yeah.
And it starts – Malcolm's another guy early on, wasn't getting it done, and guys started stepping up, and it started with him. He made that play against the Giants, and the season changed on that play. The season didn't change on Carson Wentz getting hurt and Nick Foles coming in. The season essentially took that turn on that interception because that season would have been done right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I know people don't like it. I'll say to them, blue in the fucking face. They get that fumble against Dallas, they're scoring at least 3. At least 3. Dallas doesn't play good behind. You score 7 there, you just slapped the motherfucker in the face. So now you're 3 in a row with Carson there. Nobody in this fucking country that's an Eagles fan or outside of this country is happy if he's now hurt. Fair enough?
Yep.
Tell me I'm wrong because his numbers aren't bad in them games.
No, they're not.
Now, the eyes tell you, okay, we need to be more consistent. When you get hot, you get hot. And I talked to the doc about this on a Sunday, and I said, well, Doc, is there something to him playing better in the second half of games because of the back and it loosening up as the game goes on? And he said, it very well could be, which would make a lot of sense for his second half. Not only are we great second half adjustment team, right? We're one of the best in football at that. But it's the back loosening up and helps him make better throws and stuff. Because I see now, as I look back and I think about it, some stiffness throughout Carson Wentz this year. And when he could move in the pocket, he was making plays. And I think the misguided thing is, Carson can't throw the deep ball. Carson throws the deep ball better on the move.
Yep.
But I heard guys say, you can't win with mobile quarterbacks. They get hurt. Well, bro, he's not mobile in, like, them terms to me. Like, the dude can flat out throw from the fucking pocket. And I'm tired of people telling me that he can't. I'm tired of people judging him off a neck. They're two different guys. And Carson can throw through 35-mile-an-hour winds on a fucking rope. There's a reason Alshon said when Carson came back, they had to up the jug machine again.
Yeah.
Fucking 10 notches. Yeah. Because you saw it game 1 against the Rams. I forget who it was, but somebody went to catch a pass, and they thought it was going to already be there. And they were, like, waiting, and they got almost caught off guard, and they caught it. And I was like, that's because it's not the same zip. Nick's a fucking leader. Nick's a vet in this league, and obviously knows how to win. All right? And, Carson knows how to win, too, because he's been around it. Winning, when you're a part of winning, you're a part of winning.
Yeah.
I don't care if you were hurt. If you were a part of us getting to where we got to, you deserve as much credit as the guy who won it. Because who can sit here and tell me that he wouldn't have gone won it? I'll just tell you the way Curse's end, like we talked about last year. Curse's end when you think it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, last year was a curse breaker. So it's going to come in a weird fucking way, like it did. So, I'm just excited that we have the backup, the best backup quarterback in all of football, or maybe football history.
Yeah.
Right? I don't give Nick love. Fuck, hey, I give Nick love. Who sat here? Right, who sat fucking here last year and was telling you guys to relax a little bit? That if there's anybody out there to run this offense outside of Carson, I was trying to breed.
I reminded everyone on Birds of a Feather weeks ago. I was like, don't come in here and say that we don't believe in Nick. When Birds of a Feather, the show after Carson went down,
Rope talk.
We were all here
Ropes.
and we said we can do it with Foles.
What did I do, Chuck?
We all said it.
We did. And what did I do? That show. I came down the rope, right? Depressed. Like the fan base was.
And you took it off.
And I took it off, and guess who was underneath?
Nick Foles.
Nicky.
And we hang his.
And we all said that we can go win it with him.
Yeah, we all did. So it's not like the people got to stop acting like we.
Ryan knows the Curse video. How Curses end.
Oh, God.
On AM and the PM on
this
that
is
went.
The way it would end.
On that, but it actually happened. I said that before Carson even went down.
Yeah.
I said that against Seattle.
Yep.
And then I kept it going. Once he went down, I said, now it's even more so.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I said, like, you think it's going to be smooth sailing the broad? Like, I almost called the injury because I'm saying, you think we're going to get there easy? It's going to be when you least expect us getting there. And then boom. So, listen, it's exciting. It's exciting to be in this opportunity because all we talk about is that we just want an opportunity. We want to talk about it one more week, and we hopefully get that opportunity because I think we match up really good against the Bears. And Mitchell doesn't scare me, and I need you to scare me at the quarterback position to win in this league.
He doesn't. Like the difference with Mitchell. God, I'm not getting used to that still. The difference with Mitchell is, like, people want to always bring the fact that we, against mobile or running quarterbacks, we struggle to defend them in the run. And that's true. Like, you go back to, like, Deshaun Watson.
Yep,
they all ran a lot for us. But if you go back, Cam, Deshaun, even Dak, I'll throw Dak in there because he played well against us. All those mobile quarterbacks, with the exception of maybe Dak, they're all already above Mitchell in terms of passing. Trubisky's not the same type of passer that any of them are.
No.
So if you're talking about matchup wise with Trubisky, I'm less worried about Trubisky, the threat of Trubisky, than I am about any of the mobile quarterbacks we face.
The mobileness with him doesn't get me as much as a guy like Dak would, for instance, because of how big he is.
Yes.
Right? So, like, when you're a smaller mobile guy, I can still get you down unless you're Russell Wilson. You know what I mean? But when you're, like, that bigger mobile guy and you can move and you're big, like, even Deshaun's pretty big, right, for a quarterback. He's not, like, thick, but he makes guys miss a lot. He's more athletic than Mitchell is, right? But that's why he doesn't, like you said, he doesn't scare me as much because I look at him as a guy who can make plays on the move, but he can break off big chunks on the run game, but I feel like we put enough pressure on guys, and where we get hurt is missed tackles back there.
Yep.
And it usually comes with bigger quarterbacks that are mobile, like Dak. So I think for a guy like Mitchell, we'll have an easier time getting him on the turf or on the grass or wherever fucking Soldier Field is now.
Yeah.
Turfish grass.
The one thing
which is every field, I feel like.
The one thing I'll add to your question before, as far as successful season, yes or no. The only time I ever say that it's a successful season is when a team wins a playoff game. They don't need to win the Super Bowl because we know there's only one team that wins that a year.
Okay, but is this team different because of how they got there?
It's very different for two reasons. Number one, Chucks, you know this from Tuesdays. I was saying around Thanksgiving time when this team looked like they were dead. Looked like we would have to start opening up shows on Wednesday talking about the Sixers instead of the Eagles. Mm-hmm. I was just saying, get me to January. First off, give me relevant football in December. Number two, get me to January. Also with the whole narrative of the Super Bowl hangover. To me, and everyone probably has different definitions of it, for a team or a season to truly be a Super Bowl hangover, you have to miss the playoffs. That is the embodiment of Super Bowl hangover.
Yeah, because listen,
because a team is always going to lose people.
Even if you go 13-3 and get in and get knocked out in the first round, you're still not a Super Bowl hangover.
Yes. Yeah. You're still one of the best 6 teams in your conference, which is what every team tries to do. It's all about extending your season. So because of that, in my opinion, they got over the hangover after like week 10. Because what we slowly start seeing less of that we saw all of for the first 7 weeks. Mental mistakes, costing penalties. Yes. We never see that anymore. Knock on wood, we don't see that this week, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yep.
It's very few to none.
Not as many.
Which is huge. That's the hangover part of it. We got over it.
Yeah, and we got gashed by a lot of big plays.
Yes.
Big-time penalties, called back on big runs.
Stupid coaching decisions.
Yeah, just little things.
The schemes, the whole, the illegal man. There's a bunch of things that just don't happen to teams like us.
So let me segue into this before we wrap it up tonight.
Yeah.
Okay? Who is your MVP this year, and who is your offense and defensive players of the year?
So MVP.
And we can all sort of go at the same time. I'm going to start with offense and defensive side, just because I think I lead up to the MVP. Mm-hmm. But, to me, it's Zach Ertz offensively.
Yeah.
He's sort of going under the radar on how successful of a year he's had, and people bitched him and Carson threw him the ball too much, and it's like, bro, you thought he was open. And he's open a lot. And, the break Witten's record just shows you how monstrous of a year this guy just had. And what he brings to this offense is a matchup nightmare for D-backs and linebackers. And it's hard to fill. Them kind of guys are hard to find, and he's a great route runner, and it shows. It shows, the amount of catches he has. So for me, offensively, it's going to be Zach Ertz, and, you guys can go as well, but I'll start with offense, and I'll go Ertz.
I'll go Ertz too. Offensive player of the year, I'll go Ertz.
It's sort of hard not
it's
to,
hard
right?
not to.
There's only one other guy that can go offensive, and it's Brooks. That's the only other guy who could be on the
go
offensive
line because he's just a pimp.
Yes.
Yep. No, it's true. But you're sticking. You're going to
It
go
has to
with.
be Ertz.
It's got to be Ertz. Yeah. It's the defense gets a little tricky.
Well, I'll add. There's two guys that I look at for defense. I'll just name one. I won't take both from you, but to me, it's absolutely Michael Bennett for me.
That's a good one.
Defensive player of the year.
Because the other guy to me in the conversation is Malcolm.
Yes, exactly.
Now you talk about who's been more consistent. Well, Bennett, I guess. It's up. But Fletcher's in the mix too because of how well he's played late in the year. You got to factor in that he's played really well late. So I think there's three guys, and quietly Nigel. Like if you wanted to hit all spots, like on guys who were up in it, quietly Nigel. Like at the beginning, I thought he was, a little spotty, but I really thought he's picked his fucking game up big time here in the second half.
Well, you know why? And Chucks, we talked about it the last time Birds of a Feather was on. To me, and this is, I guess it's a shot at Hicks. Nigel Bradham in a way plays better when Hicks is not on the field. Nigel Bradham played his best football last year after Hicks went out for
Joe
the season.
Walker and the old dude from the Saints.
Yes.
TTP says MVP goes to Ertz and O, and then he goes Malcolm on D.
Yep.
And Hugh Jazz says MVP Lane Johnson. That's a good one though. But I feel like he's been too spotty to be my MVP.
First 6 weeks killed him.
Yeah.
Two Gun Tommy was talking about mobile QBs and says Wilson has been the most consistent one, and I agree with that.
That's mobile quarterbacks is where the league is going. If you don't have a mobile quarterback, you're behind the narrative.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Two Gun Tommy says I'll sign Bennett over BG right now. Well, Bennett's back anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't. And
BG's probably gone, which is sad.
You get Barnett back, so it's
it's BG's probably gone, and
sort of
that makes me sad because I absolutely love Graham, and I will always love him for the play he made in the Super Bowl, but I think it just makes too much sense to let him go now, and which is a totally different thing. Too much money, and they're gonna have to go younger. They're just gonna have to go
loaded
younger.
up there anyway.
You're loaded.
You're still in a great spot.
Yeah. For my defensive player, I'm going Bennett. The defensive player of the year, you have someone who's just everyone else has had their times where they haven't been showing up.
Yep.
That's never been the case with Bennett. Every week in and week out, the one constant on defense has been Michael Bennett. I can't go anywhere else on defense besides him.
Yeah, I'll just to go the other side of it. I'll go Malcolm then, and I'll go with it because of all the moving parts back there. There's been one consistent. And to get through everything they've gotten through on the back end, I have to give the leader and the captain of your secondary a bunch of love for not only stepping up and playing great football with a bunch of guys around you, and to get them guys their level of play up too, from coaching them in practice and conversating and energy-wise. Bennett, like you said, most consistent, no question, well-deserved of it. I'll just go outside and just go Jenkins for fun.
Well, that's where I think I'm going to change up and my pick for actual overall MVP.
Who's your defense? Are you Bennett?
What was that?
Are you Bennett?
Oh, for defensive, yes.
Okay, he's Bennett. Bennett, Jenkins, and what else we got? We got Cowboys fans in the house.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, BG was a disappointment. Eagles 0-1, no question. He was playing hurt all year. It's a shame for him because if he was a free agent last year, we got his ass paid. Where was I at? Okay, so who's your MVP?
MVP, that's going to go to Jenkins. I'm going to go Malcolm with my MVP for all the reasons you stated, and I think that turnaround is. If there's one guy I'm going to look at for the turnaround, it's Malcolm. That play he made against the Giants, like you said, and then having Schwartz change the calls on defense, and then just his constant leadership. There's no one that I can look at. Even if I go back to last year, when Carson went down, I keep thinking because I was depressed. I think we were immediately after the game, but then I always think about what I heard Malcolm say in the locker room is that we have a goal. We still have a goal. It sucks that Carson ain't here anymore, but we still have a goal as a family. And I think that constant has stayed true even up until today.
Yep.
Is that no matter who's here, we have a goal as a family, and he sticks by that, and he keeps the team together.
That's great. That's special.
Yeah. So I think that the turnaround when I think about just not giving up in this season, the one player that comes to mind, I just think it's Malcolm and his leadership and his play has stepped up late in this season, and I hate pointing to one person, but
no, but he's a huge. Listen, it's everything.
Yeah.
I was trying to say before you. The same shit. We're on the same page. That's why I gave defense MVP because, like I said, you talk about the line. Well, the line's been intact. So them guys should play well with each other outside of Jernigan, but you knew he was out all year.
Mm-hmm.
So not as your only addition in Bennett, but you got good players up there.
Yeah.
So to be able to get through what you got through on the back end, with all the injuries, he's a great name. And TTP has him as his MVP. What's up, brother? He says Ertz offense, Bennett defense. Nick is better than Dak, by the way. To Two-Gun Tommy's point. Yep. Spot on.
Yep.
Shakir in the house. He's a Cowboys fan. Who's your MVP?
It's 100% Michael Bennett to me. Because the one thing I disagree with you with the whole defensive line, sure, they were all there, but they weren't 100% at any point. Brandon Graham was hurt. Fletcher Cox was on a milk carton. Chris Long was on a milk carton. Derek Barnett went out. Haloti Ngata was a non-factor. I would give it to Ertz, but Michael Bennett was the guy from day one. Go back to when he was traded here. Every narrative from the fan base it was against him. Yep. Everything was against him. And
he's a winner.
He came in, and he was the only guy for a good portion at that beginning half of that season, and until now, that showed up.
No, there's no question about it. He's a great locker room guy. Unlike what people want to say about him, he's a fucking winner because that's all they did in Seattle was win football games. So you brought a damn good vet in who can flat out get after the quarterback. I love it. I'll go to the other side then. When you break records in this league, it's hard for you not to be. And I think there's deficiencies in Zach Ertz's game in terms of blocking, but I don't look at him as a tight end. I say it weekly. I don't run from it. He can, wide receivers block two down sometimes. That's how I look at him. He's got a down block. He ain't going to get up in you head on head. He's got to not know you're coming, a crack back and shit like that. Yeah. That's the only way he's getting you. So, to me, to be able to do it with two quarterbacks, essentially, and break that record, and to be that fucking open all the time. I mean, to me, he's a wide receiver. He's your flex position in fantasy, and he's the best in football at it. Like, when you break records, so to me, he's the best wide out in football this year. His most receptions in football. Nobody has more.
Yeah.
So who's the best wide out in football too? Right? So to me, he's got to be the MVP because you want to talk about consistency from Jump Street, like Bennett, and well deserved of the MVP. Jenkins, who I love as well. Both them guys are my dogs. But the most consistent guy throughout this year has been Zach Ertz. And we talk about yards after the catch. I don't give a fuck about it when you're hitting 15-yard plays. I don't care. There's deficiencies in his game. But the things that he does great, route run, and he doesn't drop fucking footballs.
Yeah.
Done and done. Done and done. Best player on the team. When you're breaking records, I guess you are. Yeah. I mean, it's hard. Like, there's nobody on the defense outside of the great leadership that you two talked about both guys. And, Bennett was really consistent. Jenkins has the play of the year to keep our season going against the Giants or get us started. But there's been nobody more consistent than Ertz's number production. If you want to just be a number production guy.
He's had a record. You can't argue against him.
Because do we even score points without him? Like, with all the we talked about moving parts on defense. At least I did, right? About a lot of moving parts. And Ryan, you mentioned about the D-line, some moving parts and some injuries. Well, is there more moving parts than what that offense went through?
It's true.
Like, if you really want to dive deep, you lose one of your wideouts, Mike Wallace. You bring in another guy, Golden Tate, which that's more stuff. Alshon's out for a couple weeks to start the season off, right? Yep. You get crushed by injuries in your backfield. You go from a quarterback to quarterback. All changes, which affect how you play your game. And then the guy still, through all that, says, I'm just going to keep catching the football.
Yep.
So, a lot of fun,
Absolutely.
A lot of good names.
Yeah.
We would have no names if we weren't playing this week. We wouldn't have been doing a show. I would have taken it off. I'm fucking jacked up for it. Give us one more. And we'll let the chips fall where they may.
One more week.
But I think we beat this football team. Confidence level 1 to 10 on a win this week, and we out of here.
8.
Chucks.
8. I'm going 8. 8.5. 8.5. I'm going 8.5.
Fucking 9.
I'll add this real quick. Erie. Last time we could say this was the playoffs. There were massive Eagles chants out in Phoenix tonight for the Sixers game.
Let's go.
We're everywhere.
Let's go.
Last time we could say that was the playoffs. That's what was happening during Sixers games.
This is what we're back to.
Yep.
The new norm, as Doug said, and we're about to go fucking to a conference championship game. And I can't wait. Because I'm telling you, if we win this week, we're going to go beat New Orleans somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know fucking how, but let's think about this real quick. I've been meaning to say this. They haven't been playing
No,
like they were playing the
peaked.
couple weeks that they were playing when they played us through their schedule. You go
Yeah.
back and look through a 4 or 5 week
They
stretch.
peaked early.
When they played us, they were rolling motherfuckers.
They peaked early.
Now, their defense has played really good through this little stretch late, unlike the offense.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not overly scared to play them. I'm really not.
Not like
before. Like, I feel like we can stop the run now like we weren't doing before.
Yep.
We'll stop the run, and we can score points with you. You won't get into a little score points game. We can put a few up, too.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that as Nick is my quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go 30 pieces, let's go 30. You want to get in a Super Bowl fucking shootout, let's get in a Super Bowl shootout.
Yeah.
Listen, they outplayed, and him, right? He outplayed Tom Brady last year, and his team outplayed the Patriots. So why couldn't this team go outplay New Orleans? Who the fuck is New Orleans? They're fucking they're loaded. They're at home. I get all that, but they're not the Patriots like Patriots were last year. So what the fuck am I scared of then? With this team and the way they're still assembled, you still got a lot of the main pieces that were part of this run last year. Mm-hmm. A lot of big time money guys that were part of the run. Well, why can't how dynasties happen is other guys that you drafted buy in, and then you get a culture that all gets it and all understands that it's all about winning here, and it's not about you, it's about winning. And when you get a bunch of guys that continue to believe in that, regardless of how it ends, I'm telling you, we beat the Bears, we're beating the fucking Saints, and it's Eagles-Cowboys, and it's a championship game, and I can't fucking wait. In Dallas, and I might fly out there. I might fly out there because I'm fucking booking that one a dub too. We go to the Big D, and we shove the big rotating ball right up their fucking ass. That's how you end the show. So that means I got them going to the Super Bowl. They'll get eliminated this week now.
I can't even. Oh, God.
Brother, it was fun with you.
It was so much fun.
Boys, Tugum, Bryce Blackwell, TTP, Shakir, even though you're a Cowboys fan. Tristan, what's up, my brother? John McFadden. I see Mama's in the house talking. Everybody's out here. Sorry, fam. We were ranting and screaming, but we love all the comments. Keep them fucking flying. What do we got? Tomorrow night, Hockey Happy Hour, special time, 8 o'clock. Friday night, 8 o'clock. You got the Philly sports guys. Saturday, you got Kyle. That's up to you. Just kidding. Two-gun Tommy, it's like... and Sunday, you got the dogs in the house. Agree, disagree. And you know the rest of the schedule. Monday, you can see Chucksy Tuesday, Ryan Wednesday, 6, 8 p.m. Fix, Birds of a Feather. Sports Hound's back on Monday as well. Everything's back, baby.
Let's
All
go.
10. Let's go. Fly, Eagles, fly. Big win from the Sixers. You got to win back-to-backs in this league. They went and won a back-to-back, which is huge. We love you. We out. I just feel like I'm a pastor. Like I keep preaching, like, hallelujah!
Praise!
Broad Street it is!
Praise Nick Foles!
Say the name! You say the name! It's Broad Street!
Goodbye.